Imagine being dragged into court, your world already crumbling around you, only to be mocked by someone who has everything you don't. That's exactly what happened to Sarah, a single mother of 3, standing before the world-famous Judge Frank Caprio, and a young man, let's call him Alex, in a designer suit, smirking from the sidelines. This isn't just a story about a traffic ticket. It's a story about humility, compassion, and a moment in a courtroom that would leave everyone, including the judge, utterly speechless. You're going to want to see how this unfolds. The courtroom was buzzing, a typical day for the Providence Municipal Court. But for Sarah, it felt like the end of the world. She approached the bench, her hands trembling, clutching a fistful of unpaid parking tickets. Her eyes were red-rimmed, not just from lack of sleep, but from the constant stress of trying to make ends meet. She had been working 2 jobs, barely scraping by, and these tickets felt like the final blow. Judge Caprio, with his usual calm demeanor, looked over her record. "Ma'am, you have quite a few tickets here," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "Can you tell me what's going on?" Sarah took a deep breath, trying to steady her voice. "Your Honor," she began, I'm so sorry. I know there's no excuse. I'm a single mom. My youngest, he has severe asthma, and I've had to rush him to the emergency room several times in the last few months. I'd park wherever I could. I was panicked. My other son lost his job, and my daughter is trying to get through college. I've been working every hour I can, but I just fell behind." As she spoke, a scoffing sound echoed from the public gallery. All eyes turned to Alex, a young man in his early 20s, impeccably dressed, a stark contrast to Sarah's worn-out clothes. He was whispering to his friend, a smirk playing on his lips, loud enough for those nearby to hear. "Should have thought of that before having kids she can't afford," he sneered. The bailiff shot him a warning look, but the damage was done. A wave of humiliation washed over Sarah's face. She visibly flinched, her shoulders slumping as if he'd physically struck her. She tried to continue, but her voice faltered, choked with tears she was desperately trying to hold back. Judge Caprio's expression hardened. His focus shifted from Sarah's file to the young man in the gallery. He had seen a lot in his years on the bench, but open disrespect for someone in a vulnerable position was something he never tolerated. He paused, letting the silence in the courtroom grow heavy. He looked at Sarah, whose head was now bowed in shame, and then back at Alex, who seemed completely oblivious to the gravity of his actions. "Young man," Judge Caprio's voice cut through the silence, sharp and clear. "Stand up. Approach the bench." Alex's smirk faded, replaced by a look of surprise. He hesitated, looking at his friend, before slowly rising and walking towards the judge. He still had an air of arrogance about him, as if this was all a minor inconvenience. "What's your name, son?" Judge Caprio asked, his eyes never leaving Alex's. "Alex, Your Honor," he replied, a little too casually. "Alex," the judge repeated, his tone measured. "I heard what you said. You seem to find this woman's situation amusing." Alex shifted uncomfortably. "No, Your Honor, I was just talking to my friend." "You were talking loud enough for the entire courtroom, and more importantly, for this mother to hear you," Judge Caprio countered. "You mocked her for her struggles. Do you have any idea what it's like to be in her shoes?" "Well, no, but people should be responsible for their actions," Alex said, trying to sound reasonable but only digging himself a deeper hole. Judge Caprio leaned forward. "Responsibility? Let's talk about responsibility. This woman is working 2 jobs to provide for her family. She's dealing with a sick child, a son who lost his job, and a daughter she's trying to put through college. She came in here today, not to make excuses, but to take responsibility, facing fines she can't afford. She's showing more courage and responsibility than many people I see in a week. And you, from your position of privilege, have the audacity to mock her?" The courtroom was dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Alex's face turned beet red. The arrogance was gone, replaced by a dawning sense of shame. "I see here you're in court for a speeding ticket," Judge Caprio continued, picking up a different file. "Driving 90 in a 55 zone, in a brand new sports car, I presume?" Alex just nodded, his eyes fixed on the floor. "A car your parents probably bought you," the judge stated. It wasn't a question. "You were joyriding, putting people's lives in danger for what? For fun? And you dare to lecture this woman about responsibility?" Judge Caprio turned back to Sarah, who was watching this whole exchange in disbelief. His expression softened instantly. "Ma'am," he said kindly, "I've heard your story. You're a good mother doing the best you can in an impossible situation. I see the love you have for your children. That's the most important thing in the world." He looked at her file again. "Your fines total over $500, but I'm not going to make you pay that." He picked up his gavel. "I'm dismissing all of your tickets." A gasp went through the courtroom. Sarah looked up, tears now streaming down her face, but this time they were tears of relief. "Thank you, Your Honor." "Thank you so much," she whispered. "You have enough to worry about," Judge Caprio said. "Go home and take care of your family." But he wasn't finished. He turned his attention back to Alex, who looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. "Now, as for you, Alex," the judge said, his voice firm again. "You're about to get a lesson in empathy and responsibility. Your fine for speeding is $300, but that's not all." He paused, letting his next words sink in. "I am also ordering you to pay this woman's fines, all $500 of them." Alex's jaw dropped. "But, Your Honor, that's not fair. It's not my ticket." "Fair?" Judge Caprio's voice rose. "Was it fair for you to humiliate a struggling mother in a public courtroom? Was it fair for you to show such a disgusting lack of compassion? No, it wasn't. Life isn't always fair, Alex. This woman knows that better than anyone. Today, you're going to learn a small part of that lesson. You're going to use some of that privilege you so clearly take for granted to help someone who actually needs it. You will pay her $500, and you will pay your own $300 fine, and you will do it today." He then delivered the final, most powerful part of his ruling. "And Alex, I want you to look at this woman, and I want you to apologize to her. Right now." All eyes were on Alex. He was cornered, stripped of his arrogance, standing before a judge in a courtroom that had just witnessed his character laid bare. He turned slowly to face Sarah. He couldn't meet her eyes at first. He swallowed hard, his voice barely a whisper. I'm sorry," he mumbled. "Louder," Judge Caprio commanded. "Say it like you mean it." Alex took a deep breath, and this time, he looked directly at Sarah. "I am truly sorry," he said, his voice cracking with genuine remorse. "What I said was cruel and uncalled for. I had no right. I'm sorry." Sarah, with tears of gratitude still on her cheeks, simply nodded. She didn't say a word, but her expression was one of grace and forgiveness. She had been vindicated. Her dignity, which had been so carelessly trampled upon, was restored. Alex paid the fines. He left the courtroom a different person than when he walked in. He had come in an arrogant kid, insulated by wealth, and left with a harsh but necessary lesson in humanity. Sarah left with a burden lifted, her faith and kindness restored. And Judge Caprio? He once again showed the world why he is so beloved. He didn't just enforce the law, he taught a life lesson. He dispensed not just judgment, but justice, compassion, and wisdom. And, this courtroom moment wasn't about traffic violations. It was a powerful reminder that behind every case, every file, there's a human story. It's a reminder to look past our own circumstances and try, just for a moment, to walk in someone else's shoes. Because a little bit of empathy can make all the difference in the world. Thank you so much for watching this incredible story. If it touched you as much as it touched us, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more powerful and inspiring content. We love sharing these moments with you. See you in the next video.